Hey guys, how are you doing? In this tutorial I'll be showing you how to create these effects, like in the clip from BlackRock Shooter, the game promo. It's basically just a lens flare, a blue one coming out of her when she activates the power. So first of all we're gonna create a new composition. I'm gonna call it just final, and right now what we're gonna do is drop our clips inside the composition, the sound and the actual clip. I'm gonna rename my footage just to tell them apart so to know which one is it. So I'm gonna call this song and the clip I'm gonna call it scene. I'm also gonna change the color to red, just to have more variation, see which one is it, because I like to do this actually. You don't have to, but I like to do it. Also I'm gonna search where the song impact starts, and I'm gonna put some markers pressing the star key on the keyboard. As you can see, it's called new mode in the keypad shower. Then we're gonna create a new adjustment layer and call it color correction 2. I chose the name color correction 2 because there's gonna be another color correction on top that we'll be creating in the layer order, so this one's gonna be on the bottom basically. Now we're gonna go to effects, generate, ramp, and we'll use a linear ramp to generate two colors gradient. We'll use red and blue for this tutorial. Make sure to put the points on each side of the composition so we get this sort of effect. And we change the layer to color mode. Now we're gonna go to blend with original and we put that to 63. Yeah, 63 will do. Something I like to do is animate the start and end ramp points to match the scene. For instance, if there's a light on the left side and the scene is zooming in onto the right side, that means the red light will be getting further away from our point of view. So basically there will be more blue than red. You can do this if you want, I just like to do it, so it's optional, you can do what you want. Next we're gonna create another adjustment layer. We'll be using this adjustment layer to create some chromatic aberration and the blue impact as in the original footage. We'll apply some CC lens, and we're just basically gonna create a little bit of a distortion on the side. So to do that we're just gonna first of all line it up to with the markers so it's right where the impact happens in the sun. And now we'll take the size and bring it up just a little touch, around 200, 210 will be enough. So we're gonna create a keyframe now on the start marker, and on the end marker 3 frames or 4 forward we're gonna create another marker just to end the animation. And we're gonna pump the size to 500, which is the original one. It's gonna be flat completely. Then let's apply magic bullet looks to give it some blue highlights. In the tool panel we're just gonna select the 3 color ranges from the subject panel. And we'll use also the crush. And also I think it will do. I don't know how to pronounce it, and or whatever. Well, we'll turn off the 2 last for now and we'll just concentrate on the color correction in the 3 color ranges. Basically what I want to do is take the midtones and the shadows and bring them as bluish as possible. So I'm just gonna leave them like not completely blue but just a little bit, and then I'm gonna take the highlights and bring it like a warmer color, but not really high, just a little bit. Then we'll turn on the crush, and we're just gonna select again some violet bluish sort of color. We'll turn the gamma a bit up, and just a little bit, not too much, otherwise it's gonna look really weird, too white and too bright. So once we got the crush already set, we'll turn on the vignettes, and we're just gonna put a nice shadow vignettes on the sides, so it looks like a little bit more concentrated just on the center of the image. Now once we do that, we'll click OK, and that's it, we got it done. We can apply now some curves, and we go to the blue channel, we pump the blue curves up. And we just turn the reds just a little bit up as well. Now I'm gonna rename this to color correction 1, or at least that's what I should have done. I did color correction 2, but that's a mistake on my part actually. So now we create just another adjustment layer, and we'll apply Turbulent Displace. We're gonna turn the amounts up a little bit and this size down, because I don't want a really huge distortion on the, I want a small one but close to the camera. So basically just want to turn it smaller. Now we're gonna animate the amount of Displace. So we make a keyframe, we move forward like 10 frames or so until we pass the marker we made before, and we put it to 0. Now we're gonna create a new solid. We're gonna choose a blue color, and we're gonna put it right on top of the color correction, and we'll change the color mode to soft light or linear touch depending on which one works best. In this case, since we've darkened the scene a lot, I think hard light or soft light is gonna work best in a high opacity. Now we make a keyframe on the start marker, and then we make another keyframe on the end marker, bringing the opacity down. Make sure there's not too much blue on the scene, because what happened to me is I really like the color blue, so I actually just, in the first example, I pumped the blue a lot, and in the end result there was a lot of, well, the colors weren't that good, and there should be some variation, basically because we had a red light first, so we could say a red focus light on the left, and it's not looking good if the whole scene is gone blue out of the nothing. So what I've done now is I enabled motion blur on channel, on the composition channel, and then layer, and I'm using the keyframe for scale just to give some shaking when the activation of the power or whatever happens, so just to give it some variation. Because if it looks exactly the same, it's not gonna be any different. So we're just gonna do that, make a little bit of shake, and then restore the image at the end, so we have a nice and smooth transition. As you can see, it goes really zoomed in and then it goes out really slowly. So what I'm gonna do now is optional, you can do it if you want or not, but it looks a lot better. So you go to Magic Bullet Looks and you apply some chromatic aberration. You wanna pump the cyan and the red, you wanna bring the green and magenta to negative values and the blue and yellow to positive values. Once you've done that, then you should have something like this. Now what you wanna do is transition the clip from when it happens in the adjustment layer distortion to the original one, so to the rest of the clip. So to do that, we're gonna use the opacity. We're gonna bring the opacity up at the first keyframe and then down at the last one, so it gets really smooth down, and well, it looks a lot better like this instead of just doing it like 100 opacity and just giving it a random harsh keyframe. I usually just like to smooth everything by using the opacity. Now here's something I did just to give it like a lot more variation, because I love to do variety things and weird stuff on my clip. So what I did was get a warm color, and in this case was an orange sort of color, really bright one. And what I did was I masked it around the Luffy, the tractor basically, and I animated that mask through time. And I also put like a real high value on the feather. So to get like a really smooth edges when we enable the solid, it's gonna look like a really warm, and the smoke coming out of Luffy is gonna look a lot better. It's gonna affect the background a little bit, but that's gonna be fixed easily because we're gonna put like a really big feather mask, and it's not gonna cover the whole scene, it's just gonna cover that little space right there. And it's gonna transition really perfect from the original clip to the mask. So make sure to change the mode as well, because I forgot to mention that you need to change it to soft light, so it blends even better. Then we're gonna put 2 keyframes for the opacity at the end of the mask, basically when it zooms in at the end. Remember that this is only happening in this scene, so it's optional, you can do it or you can't, it's whatever you want. To be honest, I did it because I like it, so I just faded the mask when it zoomed in a little bit more forward, I believe. It's gonna look a lot better. Now we're gonna start creating the lens flare. So to do that, we're gonna create a new solid in black. We're gonna call it flare, and we're gonna apply optical flares. Then in the description of where this video is gonna be uploaded, I'm just gonna leave the flare I created because it's one that doesn't come with the actual pack, so it's this one. And what you wanna do is basically select it and hide one side, and then hide the other side. Basically this time I'm just gonna hide one of the sides, as you can see. And then I'm just gonna move them all together to one place so I can later on enable all of them. Now what we want to do is parent the position of the center position to the actual position XY of the flare. So the center position is always going to be following the main position. And then we're going to duplicate these solids. And before going on, I must thank Kevin Camp and Dan Everts from CreativeCow.net for giving me the answer on how to separate the multidimensional X, Y, and Z values. I'll leave a link in the description for anyone interested. It took me some time to figure out, and although it would be easy just to animate it using keyframes, I wanted to have some sort of a more automated way to do it. So I could just like have a controller in one of the flares and then the other flare would do exactly the same thing as the other one. But in a negative value, of course. So the code I'm gonna use and the expression, I'm just gonna explain it right now. This you can do it if you want, if not it's okay. I'll just change the name from the Optical Flares to Optical Flare 1 and Optical Flare 2 to know which one I'm working with. So what we're gonna do now is open the effect panel from the Optical Flare 2 and we're gonna go to position XY. So what happens is we've got the position XY that gives us a multidimensional value, and we need to separate X and Y since we only want it to affect X and not Y in a negative value. So what I'm gonna do is copy the example expression they gave me, and I'm gonna create a new one starting from that one. So I can sort of explain it. So what we're gonna do is type temp, which is gonna be temp equals, and then we're gonna select the position of the X and Y value of the optical flare number 1. And we're gonna close it. Then we're gonna write width-temp 0, temp 1. Basically what that's gonna do is gonna say I want you to use not the first value but the second one. So it's using only one of the two values right there. The 0 is not gonna be used, but 1 is gonna be used. That's the only way I know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it better really. But yeah, that's how it works. What we're gonna do now is just open the options for the second optical flare, and we're gonna hide the left side of the flare and enable the right side of it. So basically we hide all of this and we show all the rest, all the right side. Then we click OK and we change the mode to linear dodge. And as you can see, now they move together. When the left side goes to the left side, basically the left flare goes to the left side, the right side one goes to the right side. Basically, one is giving a positive value, the other one is transforming it to a negative value, so they're going to the both opposite sides. What we are gonna do now is parent some of the options of the second optical flare to the first optical flare. So once we modify one, we don't need to go to the other one and keep them to the end. We do that for the scale and the brightness. And as you can see, now if we modify the brightness in one, the other one affects as well. Now we're gonna change the color to tint it properly, basically because it has some aberration on the sides. And we're also gonna parent the color from the second optical flare to the first one. So whenever we modify one value, the other one is automatically updated with the same color. And once we do that, we can actually just hide the second one. We don't need to modify it anymore, it's all done. Now I'm gonna choose a color that blends well with the scene. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna move the position, and as you can see there's a little bit of an error in there. Both flares are giving, the second flare is giving a negative value, but it's a little bit of the offset. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a plus on the end of the expression, and I'm gonna put a value between 60 or 50 and 70. Once I'm okay with the look and how it looks, then I'll just click OK, and that's it. We've got the flare set. So now we can move it around and we can see how it goes. Now just play with the brightness and the scale of it until you have an animation that you're actually happy with it. I'm just gonna fast forward this part because it's pretty easy. Just make a keyframe on the position, a keyframe on the brightness, and a keyframe on the scale. Or you can not even just the scale, just use the position and use the brightness and adjust it how you want and make the animation look how you want it. Once you're happy with it, we're just gonna create another optical flare. This one is just gonna be like a little bit of the triggering of the first one, so it's gonna be a pretty small one. I'm also gonna include it on the description so you can download it. We're gonna go to the glow and actually edit a little bit the flare so it looks different, like a little long streak instead of just a little ball. Then just make an animation with it the same way you did with the other flare. Put up brightness and change the scale if needed, rotation offset. I think I did some of it as well. And I went back and forth changing the glow of it because I didn't really like how it was looking. But at the end I got happy with the result and it was pretty decent to me. So make sure to put the lens flare just beneath the distortion layer because it's gonna give a bit of distortion to the flare as well, and that's exactly what we want. What I did afterwards is change the velocity from the amount in Turbulent Displace, so it goes faster, the distortion, and then it fades quickly as well by bringing the keyframes together. Once we're happy on how it looks, we're just gonna pre-compose everything. And if you did like me and you actually hide the first optical flare, make sure to enable it before pre-composing, otherwise you're gonna get this error, which I got it. And you'll need to basically go back and undo a few times and just pre-compose it again, but having that layer shown up. What I did now is just time remapping to sync the clip with the song. Basically I just moved a few frames forward and turned up the time remapping, so it goes really close when the second beat pops up, close to the camera. And now what I did is I added a shake just in this part where the beat pops up again, just to give it a little bit more variation. How I did it is just using wiggle and motion tile. To apply motion tile, basically I did it wrong in the video because I was doing it really fast and I had the shift key pressed, but basically you need to have a lower value in output and output height and output width, so basically like a 300 or 500 is gonna be enough. And make sure to click on mirror edges. We're gonna animate the tints basically by having it really high at the start of the shake and then having it fade down to 0. What I did also was add a little bit of a shake using the motion tile, just keyframing the tile center up and down, which gave it a little bit more variation as well. And we're done, that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and thanks for watching. Drop a like, subscribe and all that good stuff.